You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hey, everybody. Tom Shaheen, Doug Herbert with you. We're going to have Matt Hagan and Greg Anderson joining us here in a little bit. But let's first talk about the results out of Texas. And there was a Torrance winning. It wasn't Steve.
It wasn't Steve. Steve is leading the points, though. Billy Torrance gets his fourth win. I mean, I'll tell you what, those Torrance guys, they are incredible. There's no doubt about it.
But he got a little lucky, too, didn't he?
Well, he definitely got lucky. He had a 3:19 light in the final. Zero light is perfect. His opponent, racing first time, I believe, finalist Jordan Vandergriff, had a 0.60 light, and here's Billy Torrance with a 3:19 light. So in other words, Torrance ran 3:77. If he'd have ran anything, if he'd have had any hiccup at all, Jordan Vandergriff would have won. 0.3 of a second late on the starting line. That's like a year, basically, in drag racing time. So I don't know what happened. Maybe there's a bee inside of his helmet or something.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I had that happen to me one time. I was racing Mike Dunn in the final at Denver, and I pulled it down, and there was a fly buzzing around in my...
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, dude. Yeah. Gerald Gwynn was happy, and Mike Dunn were happy, but I wasn't happy.
Unbelievable.
It's just the way it goes. And I almost wonder if something like that wouldn't happen, because that's very uncharacteristic
of
for Billy Torrance, right? I mean, he's a good driver. All of his other reaction times are average or above average, and then all of a sudden you've got one that's
not anywhere close.
Something happened.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to have Matt Hagan on here in a little bit. Matt takes the win in Funny Car, Anderson and Pro Stock, and then Jerry Savoy in Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Win number 12 for Jerry Savoy, third win of the year. That's pretty impressive. The old alligator hunter.
Yeah, he's right there.
He's getting it done. I don't know. I printed out some of the points to look at. I think in Top Fuel, it looks like it's a 4 or 5 car race. Steve Torrance leading. Doug Coletta is trailing closely behind. Brittany Force, Billy Torrance, and Leah Pritchett's probably topping out the ones that I would say have a decent shot.
Yeah,
I mean,
Steve's
you never
up
know.
by 33 on Coletta.
Yep.
But you don't forget you got that round and a half, right?
Pomona. Yeah, Pomona changed this thing. So after Vegas, we'll probably have a little better idea. 100 points regularly would be 5 rounds, so that would almost be unattainable. But with Pomona, all of a sudden, now you're 2.5 rounds. That makes a heck of a difference. So in Funny Car, Robert Height has a pretty big lead, but I see there's still, there's still 4 cars that have a shot between Height, Beckman, John Force, and Hagan. I mean, and you can never count out John Force. I mean, you just can't count that guy out.
You can't. I mean, he's 74 back, so he's virtually tied almost with Beckman. So either one of them has a shot at Height.
Yeah, and here at over here at the race in Dallas, John Force with low ET and top speed of the race. So Force is not rolling over.
No.
You just can't count the guy out. He's such a machine. He digs those high pressure situations. I don't care if he's 70 or 170. He's tough.
And how about Matt Hartford? He's only 28 behind Eric Anderson in Pro Stock.
I'll tell you what, that's a close one.
That's tight.
I figure that in Pro Stock, there's 7 drivers that have a really legitimate shot at winning that championship, from Eric Enders all the way down. Greg Anderson, obviously, he won last week, and he's still got a shot at it. Even though he's 7th in points, he's not that far off.
Yeah. And then Jerry Savoy is 94 points back in 3rd. Andrew Hines on the Harley leads it by 81 over Karen.
I mean, 81 points for Andrew Hines. That's a pretty big lead for the Vance and Hines Harley, I would say. If I, just guessing, I'd say there's still 4 with a decent chance of winning the championship. But to look at that like that, you'd have to say, is Andrew Hines going to run like he's running? Or, is he not going to show up at the next 2 races? Probably not.
Yeah.
Is he going to not run well at the next 2 races? Probably not. So that's going to be pretty hard to make up those, 80 points.
Well, and he's just so consistent, right?
So consistent, and they run good. I mean, Jerry Savoy this last weekend and Matt Smith. I mean, they're 2 bikes that can run right with him, if not even outrun him. But that's a pretty big lead. Is Matt going to go out first round, or I'm sorry, I got that wrong? Is Andrew going to go out first round, and somebody else is going to end up winning the next couple races? Then it could happen, but the chances of that are probably pretty slim.
Yeah. Well, they get a week off, and then it's Vegas. And then
SEMA show coming up.
SEMA show right after
Vegas,
that. And then Pomona.
Then they got a little weekend off and then going right to Pomona. So that's going to be tough. The next few weeks, I think after Vegas, we'll have a it'll probably be as clear as mud. We'll have a little bit better picture probably at the championship shootout, but it's not going to be decided till Pomona. Probably none of them will.
No, I could literally see Pro Stock going down
To the
the
final.
finals in Pomona for sure.
I think so, absolutely. Pro Stock for sure. I mean, bike, that could be have a.
I don't. Well, by that I mean I don't think anybody wins it in Vegas, right?
Probably nobody will.
But
win.
I could see one of the deals, like certainly
Could be a
Pro Stock
standout.
could be all the way to the final round or the semifinals, that kind of thing.
Right. If you get a deal where, say, up in Vegas, Andrew Hines goes to the final or wins the race,
Maybe just has to show up and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Mathematically, it might not be that he's clinched, but that's going to be
over.
hard to beat. And same thing with Robert Hite. Robert Hite goes to Vegas, he wins, goes to the final. It's probably going to be difficult to catch him, but that 1.5 points in Pomona kind of changes. So we'll talk a little bit more about it next week, but I think it's going to be tight. Top Fuel, I would not be surprised at all. Same thing in Top Fuel to see it coming down to a semifinal or a final round race, just because all those cars in the top 4 or 5 spots, they're really good cars. They're all championship caliber cars,
Teams.
championship caliber drivers. Yeah, they're winners.
And so is Matt Hagan, and he's up with us next when we come back with more of the Straight Line.
Hey race fans, it's Ralph Shaheen, and like you, I have a huge passion for racing. With the most in-depth features on racers, series, and events, no one covers racing better than America's original motorsports publication, Speed Sport. Get your subscription to Speed Sport magazine today at speedsport.com.
Before you know it, we'll be crowning the 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup champion in Miami. You need to be there to witness Ford Championship Weekend, November 15th through the 17th at Homestead Miami Speedway. 3 days, 3 races, 3 NASCAR champions.
What a year for Joey Logano, and he caps it off with a win at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Pick out the best seats in the house for the pinnacle race of the 2019 NASCAR season in South Florida. Call 866-409-7223. That's 866-409-RACE.
Winged Nation with Steve Post, Aaron Evernham, and Ashley Stremme. Your destination for all things winged sprint cars. Each Saturday at 8:30 and 11:30 a.m. on MAV TV. Live at noon on wingednation.com and Facebook Live. Join us for in-depth conversations with drivers and personalities that make up the greatest dirt racing on earth. The Winged Nation Preview Podcast each Thursday previews the upcoming weekend. Winged Nation, winged sprint car talk covering dirt tracks all across America.
Well, as promised here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, we've got the most recent winner in the funny car category joining us, Matt Hagan. And Matt, that is victory number 3 on the year, so comes at a really good time, keeping you very much alive in this championship chase.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's just it's a breath of fresh air for sure. Obviously, we wish we'd have done a little better in the countdown, but you know what allowed us to be there was this CAP program that Mopar offers, and they partnered with Wyotech and was basically able to work a deal to come up with some sponsorship to fill a race that we needed that was open and put us back out there. So I was glad we were there for that, and glad that we were able to turn the wind lights on for that. And it's been pretty awesome, you know. So I knew we could do it. It's just a matter of getting the car dialed in and me not messing it up. And we've always been there and always just in the hunt every year for some reason, and just always, just right there. We're just so close. And like I said, we won 2 championships, and I'd love for this to be the 3rd. I mean, a lot of it has to go the wrong way for a lot of people and us the right way for us. But anything is doable, man, and I've seen a lot crazier stuff happen. So we're going to keep digging and working hard these next two races coming up.
Matt, your Schumacher Racing Dodge Charger tuned by Dickie Venables was on a rail, man. That thing was a bracket car on Sunday over there.
Yeah, it was the first win with the wide body too. So, that's one of those things where to be able to be the first with that in our team and, to pull down those wins. And and Dickie just had the car dialed in. He probably ran 88 in the final. I was in a couple numbers or at least one for sure. And it just was one of those things where the car just ran great, man. They put a great hot rod under me. We were able to keep lane choice all day. I thought that was very, very critical, especially early on, but when the rubber wasn't filled in real good, first round or two. And, just keeping lane choice was big. So I was trying to be thin all day up until the final. And then, the final's the final, man. You just poke it in there and shorten up the racetrack and roll on.
How different is the wide body for the Charger? That's obviously coming for the street version in 2020, and a lot of people looking forward to it, including myself. Is it different for your race car?
I'm just starting to like it. We just won with it. It's really good. But no, I mean, I haven't seen a huge difference disadvantages or advantages or anything like that. I mean, these engineers at Mopar have spent a lot of time, energy, and money, and millions of dollars engineering these bodies. So, for us to be running up front, with the Mopar Dodge brand, and I think that they're doing a great job, and they're very hands-on and at the racetrack all the time, and they're making adjustments, and that's really cool to see that they so involved, and a lot of the things that they've done, they've made this car safer for us, with the burst panels being bigger and the parachutes out, getting more clean air where they're spaced out, and the flaps to release the air out, and just where the doghouse is and the windshield being able to be more visible and more panoramic for us as drivers. So just all in all, just a way better design,
Matt, a pretty big race was that semifinal with you and Robert Hyde. I mean, if Robert would have won that, he'd have put him in a heck of a position in the championship. But you went up there and cut a telepathic 11 line, ran that bracket car run, and put him on the trailer. That was everybody else was happy to see that. I guarantee you.
Well, I left off his sound. He went 200 red or something like that. So it was one of those things where, and you're sitting there in a fuel car and you hear one take off, and you're going like, well, I'm either dead late or something happened. And I actually cut my eyes over there and saw he was red. And, but I still wanted to run it down there to have lane choice against Pasca, and just knowing how hard Dickie is pushing and stuff like that. So was able to do that because, like I said, we were staying thin all day.
You're never supposed to admit that. You're supposed to say, yeah, I was on it, man. I was so ready.
Nah, man, I call it how it is, brother. That's just the way it is with me. I don't fake it, I mean, I feel confident in my leaving abilities enough not to have to budget, you know what I mean? But I left off his down for sure. And I looked over and I was like, man, he screwed that one up. But, it's just like anything, man. Pressure's big. I know he wants his third championship, and I want my third championship. And, he run it up last year, and I know what that feels like, So he's, I'm sure, up there pushing and wants it. And sometimes you push things away from you instead of letting them come to you, and I've been there and done that before. So, it's just pressure. And I looked over and I was like, it was a long light. It was a lot of discipline to wait, and it takes it sometimes. And he's a great driver. And, it's one of those things where he's got a good car underneath him. And John's got a good car underneath him this year, too. They both got great hot rods. And me and Beckman were over here, battling out in the trenches to get it done, So we still all got a sure shot at it. And we're all going to go into these next two races giving it hell.
Yeah, so Robert has 6 wins. You and Caps are tied for second with 3. Now, last year, the folks over at Mopar and Dodge gave the winningest Schumacher funny car driver a Dodge Hellcat Charger for the year, and Tommy Johnson Jr. got that. Did they keep that program going? And if so, how are you and Caps going to figure this out?
Yeah, I don't know if they have or not. I haven't even mentioned it because it just, they hooked me up with a 2500 Ram Cummins diesel every year, and I put that thing to work, man, and that's way more valuable to me than any Hellcat is, or anything like that, man. Like I don't know. I mean, if you can't get cow crap on a Hellcat, then I don't need it. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those deals where we're working hard with our work trucks that they hook me up with, and I got a fleet of work vehicles as well, and so I keep these Rams running pretty hard on the farms and stuff, and so I haven't really paid much attention to the Hellcat stuff. It'd probably just be parked in my driveway, and my wife would be saying, "Get this thing out of the way," it's taking up space. So I just assume send another truck,
Hey, Matt, going into these last couple races, you're only 100 points basically out of the lead. Pomona's a 1.5 deal. How does, what do you do going into there? You just go in there and just like any other race, or is there a strategy?
I think that you just race your race car, man, and that's what I've been trying to do all year long. And the crew chiefs have so many different variables, and that they always have so many chances to mess it up. So when it does mess up, it's hard to hard to really come in and throw your helmet at your crew chief and go, what the hell, man, but but it doesn't hold them back from doing the same when you mess up as a driver. They're going to, like, they pack her back up, and run out there. You're going like, what the hell, man, but it's one of those things where, I think that, when the car is there, you have to step up and perform, and Dickie does a good job of putting the car underneath me, and when it's on, man, I feel it as a driver. So I think that, for me, I just race my race car, man, and my team, they'll give me a hard time if I have a bad light or I'm a little late or anything like that. So, you always want to try to rise to the occasion, and usually by the semis for me, if I know we're going to the semis, it's like, okay, man, it's time to get my game face on, and not that it isn't every time, you know what I mean? Because I've been beat first round, and you go like, well, hell, if I'd have just pushed a little bit harder, then we might have won that round, So it's but when things are rolling and things are clicking and the car's right and there's not a lot of chatter in your ear, you just, as a driver, you just kind of know you have to start rising to the occasion, because you get tougher and tougher rounds every race, and we went through a slew of hard cars on Sunday, between all the cars that we ran with Robert, and I think we ran JR, and we ran who else did we run? It wasn't nobody.
Task in the final, Blake Alexander
Task,
first round. Yeah, tough.
We had a bunch of, good levers and good drivers and good cars, we got through. And so if we can do that, there's no reason that we can't do it the next two races as well. So it's just a matter of, getting it back out, and every racetrack's different, getting a good, Friday night or Friday qualifier and working off of it from there, man. But these things are fuel cars, man. You put fuel in them, you take them to the next track, and they're totally different. So I don't know what happens in between the ride and the trailer and the next racetrack, but they change a lot,
Well, listen, we're going to be keeping an eye on it. Best of luck as you make your way to Vegas and then off to Pomona for the finals. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you guys, man, and thanks for your listeners that support everybody with Pennzoil and Mopar and this new CAP program and Western Tech, not Wyotech, Western Tech, and they allowed us to be there this weekend with the Mopar CAP program. So hopefully to grow a relationship with them, and I'm working on some new stuff with New Holland and with the agricultural side, and we're glad to hopefully have something coming out there soon with them. So just a lot of new things in the work, always hustling, man, always digging. But we can't do it without the folks that listen to you guys and support all of our sponsors and buy the product. So thank you guys for that.
You got it. Matt Hagan, everybody. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Best of luck in Vegas, and we'll be right back with more after this.
Thank you, brother.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
2 years ago, tempers flared at Martinsville.
Oh, Elliott spins, and he slams the outside retaining wall.
Last year ended in a photo finish.
Logano down to the inside. They touch. Truex goes sideways. Logano gets by.
Now it's time for what comes next. The first Data 500 returns Sunday, October 27th at Martinsville Speedway, part of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Get tickets today at martinsvillespeedway.com or call 877-RACE-TICKS.
Jeff Gordon has come from virtually nowhere.
He's one of NASCAR's all-time greats.
For the 93rd time in his career.
A pioneering champion.
Be at the right place at the right time.
The kid who took on the good old boys and changed NASCAR.
We started to go toe-to-toe from Earnhardt.
MRN presents a 10-part podcast series that traces Jeff Gordon's rise to NASCAR legend. Jeff Gordon, the colorful career of the Rainbow Warrior. Available now at MRN.com and your favorite podcast source.
We've been talking about it most of the season here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto. Our friends at Hercules Tire giving away a free set of tires every month. Very, very simple how you register. Just go to HerculesTire.com/MRN. Fill out the little form, and, man, you're in the running.
Free tires. I'll tell you what, that is, if it's free, it's me. That's my motto. So
I like that.
Hercules Tire /MRN. There you go.
Greg Anderson likes free Wallies, and you got one this weekend. Congrats.
Thanks, boys.
It probably was a little bit more than free, though, wasn't it? The expense is a little bit stiffer.
Yeah, not exactly free. It's, if anybody knew what those trophies really cost in both monetary and aggravation-wise and sweat-wise, it's unreal. It's just about impossible to get them these days. They get tougher every year, it seems like.
Man, Greg, unbelievable. You brought home your 94th win, and you really kept yourself in the countdown points deal also. What does that mean to bring home that win at a crucial time?
Well, obviously that was huge. Yeah, I kind of stunk the place up the last 3-4 races, and everybody had kind of written me off for dead. They were throwing dirt on my casket, I think. But I rose from the almost dead and almost looked like we knew what we were doing this weekend. Car ran great, and somehow my lunch light came alive, and that's what it takes anymore. You're not going to win if you can't cut 10, 20 lights anymore. You're not going to win. It's crazy. The price of poker and pro stock is the highest it's ever been, and if you can't find a way to do that, you just flat go home.
Well, you'd had those 2 back-to-back wins out on the West Coast, and then you even made it the finals the very next round. Then, like you said, you had 3 first-round losses, 2 second-round losses, but now you're a winner again. So what was the difference? You mentioned the clutch. Was that really the key?
Well, that was a big part of it. The car hasn't been running good either the last 4 or 5 races. We kind of lost our way with it and lost the tune-up on the race car and couldn't make good, clean runs with the race car. And I guess that works on your mind, and you get depressed, and you're not smiling when you stage the race car, and it all snowballs, and all of a sudden when the car's performance comes back around, apparently the attitude gets better, and you roll up there with a smile on your face instead of gritting your teeth and in anger, and it just seems everything goes a whole lot better. So amazing how things turn around.
Hey, Greg, your car was really consistent, but then in the second round, particularly, man, a 003 light and then a 12 light in the semifinals, you were ready, man. Your clutch leg, your focus, everything. You had it. You wanted that win bad.
I can't explain it, Doug. It doesn't necessarily feel any different in the mind or in the head than any other light, that I've cut over the last few weeks. I guess the biggest difference is the performance of the race car and the confidence that builds inside of you. So even though you don't think you're doing anything different, somehow just that better attitude, goes and parlays into better reaction times. It's a crazy deal. This deal it's a mind game, no question about it. And apparently the older you get, the weaker that mind gets and harder it is to get it tuned right.
Doug and I were talking here recently, Greg, in the show, that we think this Pro Stock Championship is going to go all the way down to the end in Pomona. Not just Pomona, the event, but maybe the final round. How do you guys catch Erica, and what do you got to do to take this title away from her?
Well, for me, obviously, I got myself such a deep hole, Doug. It's probably going to take me winning out, which, nobody's strung together 3 in a row this year. It's about impossible to do because there's so many great cars that, everybody can beat everybody, and nobody's been able to run away and hide because everybody can beat everybody, and everybody's just got to kind of get used to taking their lumps and try and find a way to fight back. So it's crazy, and the way it looks, it's going to go down to Pomona, and there'll probably be at least a half a dozen cars that can still win it at Pomona. I'm just hoping that I have a good Vegas, so I'm one of those half a dozen cars, because it's going to be a battle royal, no question about it. And I can't remember a year where there's been this deep of a field. You've come down to Pomona before with 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 cars with a chance to win, but never 6 cars, or who knows, or maybe even more by the time we get there with a chance to win the championship. So crazy year, and I have no earthly idea what's going to happen. All I know for me, what it's going to take, I'm going to have to find a way to find the winner's circle in the next 2 races, and that's a He-Man challenge, let me tell you.
Hey, Greg, as you said, the competition in Pro Stock is brutal. One of the cars that you probably didn't want to race is the one you had to race first rounds, your teammate, buddy, Jason Line. That way you probably need to avoid racing each other in first rounds.
Yeah, we did just such a great job at qualifying that we ended up racing the first round. It seems like whatever, I don't know what it is, but every time we go to a race and we absolutely stink in qualifying, we end up matched up against each other first round. It's like if you perform anywhere near what you're supposed to, then that doesn't happen. But when you perform so below par like I did in qualifying, that's what happens. And it's just a bum deal, especially with, it being playoff time and crunch time. And Jason's obviously in a great position to try and win a championship. I'm a long shot, so really a no-win deal for me. If I beat him, that knocks our team's best chance of finding a championship this year out the window. So it was a tough deal, and after that, if I didn't find a way to get around Erica, it was really going to be a disappointing day. So I would have just done nothing but damage to our entire race team. But we race every time we go up there and race, no matter what the stakes are, and no matter what's on the line. We race heads up, and we did again. And I just expected the way his car had been running, we'd go have a fair square race, and he'd be the winner, and he'd move on. But it didn't turn out that way this time, and luckily I made amends for it second, third, and fourth round and got the team a victory and saved really a lot of people's bacon as far as points-wise goes, because obviously if Eric would have won that round and gone on to win the race, she would have opened up a heck of a big lead, and everybody would really be, dragging their lip in the dirt this week.
You mentioned how it can be very depressing, really, when you hit a low spot like you were those last few races where you're struggling to go rounds. As a seasoned veteran, have you figured out how to pull yourself up out of that? Obviously, you become aware of, hey, this is happening, and mentally, emotionally, I've got to get myself up.
I think we're just so pig-headed, at least I am. I can't ever quit. I can't ever give up, and it certainly goes through your mind. Why do I even come to the races? Why do I even go to these races if I'm going to perform so poorly? But then you take an hour and you sulk and you whine and you cry, and then you get back up and you dig in and you go back to work. And that's kind of how we've always done it. I don't know any different. I don't know the word quit. It doesn't jive with me in racing. There's no quitting in drag racing. So we bounce back up. We try as hard as you can, and you just never know when you're going to finally come to grips with what's wrong and what's going on, and figure out the right things to do to fix it. And obviously we made the right moves this weekend. Hadn't been doing that for the last several weekends, but we made the right moves this weekend, and bam, all of a sudden the whole package comes together.
Hey, Greg, I know Vegas is one of the places that I've seen you do really, really well there a lot of times over the years, and it's also the home track to your car team owner, Ken Black. Tell us a little bit about, does that mean a little bit more going back to Vegas, and Ken will probably come out to the track and see you guys and be able to help root you on?
Yeah, it means the world to us. He came here to Charlotte. We performed poorly here and kind of embarrassed ourselves in front of him, so we need to go to Vegas and make amends and make him feel better about his race team. And, if you were able to sit down and draw up what races you want to finish the season with everything on the line, I couldn't pick two favorites, any closer to us than Vegas and Pomona. We love those two racetracks. Vegas has been fantastic to us. Pomona's been fantastic to us. But special feeling when you go there. And you're going there with a lot of pride because that's where Ken's at. And he doesn't get to travel a whole lot anymore. He doesn't get to cruise around the country and watch all these races. So we see him very seldom during the season. So we always look forward to it. And you want to perform well for him, and thankfully it's been a great racetrack for us. So, as I say, it's set up the best we could expect or best we could hope. We've got two great racetracks for KB Racing coming up, and we'll go see if we can make some hay.
As I'm looking at this here, stats-wise, as you get ready for Vegas, you are second in event wins with 3 for the season. And one of the reasons why I think you should feel really good about that is Bo Butner's 4. You've got 3. Jason Line has 2, and you guys are 1, 2, and 3. It says a lot about your power plants and your cars. Then you look at final round appearances. You're tied with 6 with Matt Hartford for the number 1 slot there, and you've won 3 and lost 3. In reality, there's a lot of reasons to believe, especially since you did win 2 in a row out on the West Coast and made the finals on the 3rd one, that you could put together that streak run you need.
I could. I guess I've been the closest one to putting a streak like that together this year. Nobody's even won 2 in a row, let alone 3. So I'm the only one that's even won 2 in a row. So I guess if you look at that, I should have the most confidence to anybody. But I'm a realist. I realize what I'm up against here, and it's a lot of people with a lot of big guns. Let me tell you, it's crazy out there right now. And I know the funny car class is crazy, and the top fuel class is crazy, and you can't pick that one either. But this Pro Stock deal is beyond belief. The field is so deep. If you look at least the top 8 cars in the top 10 right now, there is no reason that any one of those 8 cars can't be your world champion this year. So crazy deal, and I guess that's great. That's wonderful for the class, wonderful for the sport.
Well, Greg Anderson, winner out here at the last weekend's race in the Texas Motorplex, KB Racing Summit, Chevy Camaro. Greg, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Good luck these last couple races.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. I hope and pray I get to talk to you again before the end of the season. That'll be good news.
That would be. See you later, Greg.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
For more than 80 years, Detroit Diesel has been the legendary driving force powering many of the best-known trucks on the road. Through our state-of-the-art Detroit technologies in components and safety systems, we've earned our customers' trust as a reliable business partner dedicated to improving their bottom line. It's no wonder they continue to depend on Detroit to keep them safe and efficient on the road. When you demand it all, demand Detroit.
Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina is redefining the drive-through coffee game in Race City, USA. The Clutch experience is fast, friendly, and delicious. Quality drinks and unmatched customer service is the name of the game. Clutch Coffee Bar offers signature lattes and mochas, custom flavor-infused energy drinks, smoothies, and more. Over 25 flavors, there's something for everyone. Visit our 2 locations in Mooresville, 356 Williamson Road and 154 West Plaza Drive. Open daily from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Power up today with Clutch Coffee Bar.
NHRA drag racer Doug Herbert here to talk about safe driving. In early 2008, my 2 sons were killed in a car accident that was caused by speed and inexperience. After the accident, I learned that over 6,000 teenagers each year are killed in car accidents, so I formed a nonprofit organization called Brakes. Brakes stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. Please visit our website at putonthebrakes.org to learn more about responsible driving and what you can do to keep our roads safe.
Back to wrap up MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Just only 2 races left in the season. Man, it's crazy, right?
It's like the years go by, they get a little bit quicker. Old Jim Brissett, old crew chief of mine, he said, look, as you get older, it's like a toilet paper roll. The farther it gets down towards the bottom, it just keeps going faster. And this race season just seems like it just flew by this year.
It really did, really. And the good news is it won't be long till we're right back at Pomona again in February, right?
That's true.
But the 2 races left, the Dodge NHRA Nationals presented by Pennzoil out in Vegas, and the Auto Club NHRA Finals over in Pomona. Go to NHRA.com, click on the red ticket tab in the top right corner, get those tickets, go to the races, enjoy the championship run. Are you going to go back to Vegas and get one of those, showgirl outfits on again?
No, probably not. Yeah, probably not this time. I would like to go to the races, though. I'll tell you what, there's going to be 2 good races that would be really good ones to go see. Always, Vegas and Pomona. I mean, how can you go wrong?
I was trying to line up my trip to SEMA with the Vegas round and just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, it's too much work. You're too busy. Speed sport, all this stuff.
You got to do what you got to do to make a living. I got 2 kids that got to go to college, you got to do what you got to do.
Got stuff to pay for.
Yeah, right. And a lot of it. We do have just red light this week, unfortunately. Some sad news. Norm Drazy, who is the designer of the revolutionary PSI screw-type blower, recently passed away at the age of 72, losing a battle to cancer. And then more recently, Mickey Thompson Tires Top Fuel Harley rider Kevin Boyer passed away due to cancer as well. And it's sad to see both of those.
Yeah.
Obviously Norm, or Kevin, I should say, was a competitor, having success at the Northwest Nationals in Seattle. And then, Drazy, man, I mean, revolutionary, as we said, what he did for the sport with that screw.
Really, he did. Running that screw supercharger. I won't forget meeting Norm Drazy at Billy Williams' shop in Southern California at Bill Simpson's Gasoline Alley. And he came over there and brought his supercharger, that nobody had ever seen. It was kind of a weird looking, that screw supercharger. And man, the thing made power. They put it on, it was Gary Southern drove the car for, now I can't remember. Now I remember the driver's name. I can't. Anyway, they went to Indy that year, and I think it was 86 or 87, and just clobbered them in the alcohol dragster class. That really changed the sport. And then now a lot of the, over the last several years, a lot of the Top Fuel even racers have run SSI supercharger components and so forth. So Norm Drazy, neat guy, very much an innovator and, kind of a mad scientist guy, but a neat guy. Just hate to hear about that.
Yeah, so Norm Drazy and Kevin Boyer, all of us here at MRN's The Straight Line, and of course the entire NHRA community, thinking of their families. Rest in peace.